Hey people, I didn't think I would be back on your screen so soon, but an amazing thing has happened. As a follow-up to my film about health effects and US service people and UFOs, a viewer pointed me to something that's cited in the last film that's called, let's get this properly right, it's called the Betty Cash and Vicky and Colby Landrum incident, which took place in 1980, where Cash and Landrum witnessed a UFO while driving home at night between the Texas town that's just east of Houston called Dayton, not Ohio, but Dayton, Texas. It's very important, and Houston. On a night in 1980. They witnessed a UFO, a large glowing ball of electromagnetic plasma above their car. They stopped at night and were affected by it. So, being both civilians and in the US, they hired lawyers to make a claim against what they thought was a US Air Force project, because they also said they witnessed Chinook-type double-rotor helicopters approaching the object and escorting it away. So they surmised that it was something to do with the US Air Force. So that's the background. Now what I found is fascinating. In 1981, Cash and Landrum with their lawyers went to Bergstrum Air Force Base. Bergstrum is a large US Air Force base in Texas and is relatively close to the incident in 1980. The date is vital that they saw. Under the Freedom of Information Act, the full transcript of their interview with the Cash and Landrums, and let me get this right, there was Betty Cash, John Camp, captain of US Air Force, we'll talk about him in detail, Colby Landrum, Terry Davis, captain US Air Force, Pat Wolf, who's a claims officer for the US Air Force, and Vicky Landrum, who witnessed the incident. Why I'm here today, back talking to you, is the US Air Force revealed its hand in this interview. I don't think anybody else has spotted this connection, but I look at a big picture. Let's not focus on aliens and UFOs, but let's look at what did the Air Force actually ask them? The Cash and the Landrums were looking for a financial settlement because they'd suffered symptoms following seeing this thing, this incident in the air that they believed was somehow related to the US Air Force. The people at the Air Force Base at Bergstrom really weren't very interested in what they saw. They made fun of the witnesses. They asked them to draw helicopters, which they did quite badly. They asked them to describe the size of the craft that they saw, which again, they were really making fun of them, in my humble opinion. And then it came down to the medical part, and this completely blows it for the US Air Force. Captain John Camp, US Air Force. I don't know who he is, but I am assuming that he is a medical doctor with the US Air Force. Asks them 5 questions. He said, did you suffer from radiation type effects? Did you suffer from hair loss? Did you suffer from skin burning? Did you suffer redness? And did you suffer from any mental conditions where you felt disorientated? Hang on, alarm bells in Professor Hollandland rang. Those 5 questions are exactly the symptoms of exposure to high energy physics. In the 1970s in Canada, experiments were done on human subjects to look at the effects of exposure to plasma, high energy electromagnetic wavelengths. And his 5 questions to these Cash Landrum people were exactly those symptoms. He could have asked them about, did they break their legs, did they have diarrhea, did they, other things. But no, why would the doctor from the US Air Force, interviewing these people who had witnessed something that they were trying to rubbish, ask specifically the 5 top symptoms of exposure to electromagnetic radiation if it wasn't a US Air Force test? And hang on, when did this all happen? 1980? Exactly the same year as the Rendlesham incident, where poor US servicemen all suffered the same 5 symptoms. What conclusions can you draw from that? The US Air Force knew what both incidents were. Now that's just speculation, but I have a quest for you because, as I say, the truth is out there. What is the connection between Bergstrum and USAF Force Europe, USAFE, in Germany, and Bentwaters? There must be some connection. Well, there already is. They're all part of the US Air Force. But were there any shared projects through Germany, USAFE, Bentwaters in Suffolk, and Bergstrom Air Force in Texas? If we can nail any connection between the Cash Landrum incident, where they saw high-level physics plasma above their car, and Rendlesham Forest, where US servicemen suffered exactly the same symptoms as the Cash Landrums, I think we've nailed the case. You can help. Leave a comment below if you know the answer. The truth is out there and we need to know it.